We went to an Astros game. After that, we got into the Uber. The last thing I remember saying is, "Oh my God, I think those cars are going to hit us." I just remember waking up and seeing Edison completely laid down on his back on my lap, and his eyes were closed. He was dead weight. And I started beating on his chest, trying to wake him up. That's when they immediately took him to Bentob.
When I first met Edison, his condition was very critical. He was non-verbal, non-movement, intubated, total care.
We rapidly got him to the CT scanner. He had suffered a very large fracture of the left side of his skull. The way it fractured, it kind of depressed down onto the brain, leading to a very significant amount of bleeding that can often be quite damaging if we don't, in an expedited fashion, stop the bleeding, but then also relieve that pressure. We were able to take him to the operating room within 5 minutes.
Before I had my accident, I was independent. Most people are very surprised when they meet me. They're like, "You're blind?" And I'm like, "Yes, I'm blind." My day started out really normal. I was walking into church and I did not realize that my blood pressure dropped. I blacked out for a full minute, and when I fell, I broke my hip. I was taken to the ER.
At first, her vital signs were fine, and then all of a sudden she started getting hypotensive. We actually had upgraded her to a trauma code 1 to get surgeons to bedside because of her blood thinner use.
Postoperatively, it was recognized that she had an injury to the superior gluteal artery, which in her case can be a life-threatening situation. And it was at that point that we moved very quickly to engage the interventional radiology team and the intensive care unit team to assist with her care.
They had to go back into my right leg, literally give me an arterial bypass because I was bleeding to death on the inside. I didn't realize it till one of the nurses mentioned to me, "You almost bled to death."
It was probably the longest 12 hours of my life, not knowing if my husband was alive or not. You see the love of your life all tubed up, lifeless, and not able to respond back to you. It's very heartbreaking.
I would say that his care was, you can think of it like phases. The first phase was damage control.
The first surgery that we did for him was to remove the part of the skull that was fractured and also provide enough room for the brain to swell safely.
Mr. Edison was nonverbal. Even though they're not gonna respond to us, talking to them calms them down, even when they have a tube, because they understand, showing that we really do care, making sure that they are heard. They appreciate it because we're all human at the end of the day.
Reno is always there. I think having that kind of support is a blessing. It has immeasurable amount of impact on Edison, I'm sure. I do remember Edison very quickly coming to from his sleep and engaging us and moving everything pretty rapidly. I was equally amazed as I was humble at his progress.
When we first meet a person like Deborah in the trauma situation, this is only the first chapter of the book. We are now becoming involved in their care for life, and we have to come up with a treatment plan that guides them back to their life that they had just one day prior to the trauma.
That surgeon saved my life in multiple ways. He stopped the bleeding in my leg, but he also told me, if you persevere and you push through the pain, I promise you, Miss Callahan, you'll be up and walking. You can do it. And he said the only thing that'll keep you in the bed is fear. And his words stuck with me.
Physical therapy fills that void after injury that medication sometimes just can't. We are the hands-on, step-by-step process of what you need to do in order to get back your functional mobility.
When she was very fresh after surgery, we knew that she was having a lot of pain issues. We were still struggling with the basics of just being able to stand up and taking few steps.
We had many challenges working with Deborah. Not only is she going through a lot of pain, but every time that we would try to stand, her blood pressure would drop. That would cause her to get very, very dizzy. We couldn't even progress to walking. I could tell her progress was something that was going to be a little bit slower than the average person. But thanks to Deborah being somebody who is willing to fight and push through, she was able to carry on and progress to what you see today.
Once we've gotten him through that initial phase of swelling, we can put a synthetic piece of bone back on that molds to his skull.
The cranioplasty is, in every sense, putting the pieces together. And in Edison's case, it signifies the culmination of recovery and finding the light at the end of the tunnel.
I noticed an instant difference, especially in his eyes. His face looked like it just lit up. His speech, it's taking longer. I remind him every day that he's progressed so much and to keep hope.
He's walking around, spending time with his wife, and that's just a magical feeling, and that really makes everything that we do worth it.
She's laughing, she's joking. You would not know this woman has just went through the type of surgery that she went through. That's the reason I took this job, is to be able to see people go through an accident and get back to where Deborah is, doing what you used to do.
That's what gets me going and help me get up in the morning, because I'm doing something good for others.
It's incredible, and it's motivating, and it's solidifying that the work we do here at LBJ impacts lives and the greater Houston community.
Some people wake up and they're driving to work, and next thing they're in a terrible car accident and they're having the worst day of their lives. One of my biggest things is knowing that I'm at my best on somebody's worst day.
I was just happy to say I was a part of that journey, just a little bit. Even if it was just a smidge, it makes me happy, it makes my heart happy.
Here's a walking, breathing example of how the brain can heal and how what everyone at our hospital can do for patients.
One of the things that I really like about Harry's Self is this mantra that we are open to everyone and ready for anything. And that is exactly what our trauma survivors represent. Our ability to be available to our community 24/7 and literally being able to provide every possible care that our patients need.
Since day one, when we entered this hospital, the entire staff here was absolutely amazing. I can never thank them enough. They saved my husband's life. I will forever be grateful for them, always.
Harris Health is pretty gosh darn amazing. I feel comfortable. I feel safe. The doctors really did take the time to answer my questions. And the nurses were very good about explaining to me what was in the room and what was going on.
You just have to take each day as it comes and believe in the care team, believe in the therapist, and just believe in yourself and believe in that person and be there for them.
I walk down these hallways and I think, I was wheeled out of here on a gurney, but now here I am. I'm coming back and I'm walking. I am walking.
LBJ and Mentop hospitals work together as one coordinated trauma system. It doesn't matter where patients arrive at our facilities, they receive the same level of high-quality, compassionate care. It takes not just the doctors and the nurses, but the entirety of our system to be able to provide that level of care and total healing.